All right. Once again, shalom. It's good to be here on this Thursday night as we are still in the counting of the Omer. Hallelujah. What day are we on? Are we on day 20? Somebody look that up. Make sure we get it right. It's the 19th or 20th? Day 19? No, not the date. The counting of the Omer. Leading to our next feast. Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel worldwide. Those of you who are watching us live from wherever you may be posted up. Some of you all may be watching from South Africa, others watching from the Holy Land, East Africa. Those of you from Europe, from the islands, South America, North America, Russia, China, wherever you are posted, wherever the Most High has you, the scattered among the tribes, the scattered of the tribes of Israel worldwide, companions, friends, associates, those grafted in, we welcome you to the Ark. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Ark represents the Awakening Remnant Coalition, and we are about that, and that is we're about waking up Jacob in these last days, because I believe that our redemption is very near. I also believe that we are living in a time where prophecy is unfolding, honestly, day by day, in our faces, and we can see the birth pangs of this earth, and we can see how, according to the Bible, it is about to erupt. Things are about to change. And one of the, it's day 20, all right. It's day 20. And one of the things that we look forward to is the return of our King. Believe it or not, we have a king, and he still sits high and he looks low, and he rules and overrules and super rules. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Man might make certain plans and try to achieve a certain end, but it's Yah who has the final say. And I think that everything is happening just according to his plan, and our redemption is near. The next feast day that we will be having is Shavuot. Y'all say Shavuot. Shavuot. The Feast of Weeks, which is the feast where we remember and we honor Yah for giving us the marvelous laws called the Torah. And anybody who talks about they don't want to be under Yah's laws, you've never read his laws. If you read his laws and you understood Torah, you wouldn't want to be anywhere else but under those laws, because it's the best laws that have ever been given to any nation or any people at any time. And those laws are beautiful. They teach us how to love and live and grow. And they teach us how to work with our family and our neighbors, and it teaches us how to be a good citizen, teaches us how not to be stingy and selfish. We have the most wonderful laws that also teach us to honor and to worship the Most High. And so we take out a time every year as a people, as the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel, and that feast happens 7 weeks after Passover, which allows us the time of completion. 7 times 7, right, is 49. So 49 days, the Feast of Weeks, and we get together because when they left Egypt, it was a 49-day journey to Mount Sinai, or Mount Sinai, however it's pronounced properly, where they received the laws. And it's where the marriage took place, if you please, between Yah and his nation. He was already connected to us as a people, as a family, but for the first time we see him connected to us officially as a nation. Hallelujah. So let me give you these plans that we have so far. Our plan is to meet on the Saturday. I need that exact date. Somebody look up that exact date. It's the in May. 19th, right? The 19th, right? May 19th, we will meet here for regular Shabbat. And then we're going to drive up to those who want to come. We're going to drive up to Millerton Lake, where we will reserve a campsite. And we're going to hang out all night. Those who want to hang out all night, bring your tents and all that kind of stuff if you just want to hang out for a while. And we're going to read Torah. And we're going to go as far as we can all night long, reading Torah and allowing the Ruach to bless us so that we can properly remember the beautiful day when our people went to that hill. It was an awesome day, but it was a wonderful day. And so we're going to go up in the hills, get a campsite, and that'll be on that Saturday. So right after Shabbat, we're going to head up, and you will see. If you have a motor home, a fifth wheel, a travel trailer, or just a nice tent, and you want to bring it up, and we'll spend the night up there. Those of you who are going to make a turnaround, just bring your cars and hang out as long as you want. And then when you want to get back, you can. But the next day is going to be Sunday, so there's not much going on. And we're going to have all that, the details. Those who are coming out of town, of course, you just heard what I just told everybody, but we'll try to remember to put it on the, what do you call it? In the comment section on the video. Try to remember. All right, please don't tack that time to my lesson tonight because I want to talk about something. And really tonight, it's going to be, I'm hoping that this lesson leads us to discussion. So I want this to be a lesson/discussion tonight. On day 5, we're back into our Genesis study as we walk through the scriptures together, and we are dealing with creation and how the creation story speaks about our relationship with Yah, our redemption. And it's deeper than just telling us how things get started or got started. Tonight, I titled day 5, A Different Kind of Life. I want you to repeat that after me. Please say, a different kind of life. One more time. A different kind of life. Zion, what we get on day 5 is life, but it's a different kind of life. And this is significant to us as we study the scriptures. So if you have your pencil or the pen or your Bible, if you have the internet and you're able to pull it up, those in the room, or if you're watching and you can do that, please do, because I'm going to give you a site to go to as well as some verses and some scriptures that you can check out as I'm teaching tonight. And I need to do something with this camera. It's bugging me. It's like right in my face. Y'all hold it for a minute. All right, that's cool. I'm back. Okay, Genesis chapter 1. How about y'all help us to see in this text something very important about life. Help us ultimately to see that life and the life you give are very precious gifts to us, and that they should not be wasted, but our lives should be given to you and poured out in service for one another. Hallelujah. Amen. Genesis chapter 1, we're on day 5. Verse 20. And it says, y'all, let's read it together. I'm reading out of the King Jimmy only because it's the most popular version out there, not because we believe the King Jimmy is super inspired. King James. Y'all ready? Okay.
That's a new one.
Verse 20, y'all ready? And Elohim said, come on. What? The moving creatures that have life. Underline that word. Life. That's our focus tonight. And fowl, that they may what? Come on, that they might do what? Fly. Thank you. I was like, come on, y'all. That they might do what? Fly above the earth. That's very, very important. That you see that birds were made that they may fly above the earth. All right? And of course, in that same verse it says, in the open firmament of the heaven. So there is a place where birds fly. They don't fly in the firmament. They fly in the open, which is between the earth and the sky, where the firmament is. And remember, we've already dealt with the dividing of the waters. If you haven't seen those videos, go back and look at the firmament, the lessons that I taught on that. Okay, all right. Then verse 21. Let's read it. And Elohim created
whales.
Come on. Great whales. And come on. Every living creature that which
the waters
brought forth how?
Abundantly.
Come on.
After their kind.
Very important. Write that down. After their kind, or underline that. And Elohim saw that it was Tov. Write that word down, because that word Tov means functional. Verse 22. And Elohim blessed them, saying, what?
Be fruitful.
And
multiply.
And
fill the waters and the seas.
And
let fowl multiply in the earth.
Okay, I need you to understand something here, that Yah spoke to these created creatures. And they heard him, and they understood him, and they obeyed. Verse 23. And the evening and the morning was the fifth day. The fifth day, titled this message or this lesson, A Different Kind of Life. It's a different kind of life. It's life, but there's a different kind of life. And really, if you can just remember that, you're going to go home with the bulk of the message of my lesson tonight. One of the, one major world teaching, especially today, and it is seen in a lot of religious circles, especially in what is called natural religions, religions that claim to have a particular relationship with nature. And one of their claims is that all life is the same. Now you see that demonstrated when a person will travel to, say, the snow in order to save like a baby seal. but won't travel across town to save a baby. Human. We live in a time where in this nation you will go to jail for disturbing a bald eagle's nest. I'm talking about jail. And oh my goodness, don't bust one of the eggs. And in this same country, a woman can kill her own baby and get away with it. So you have an eagle and a nest having more value than a womb of a human. I think y'all remember Michael Vick, right? Football player, ex-NFL player, would have no doubt have been the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. They just left him alone, let him play. They tried to change him, but nevertheless, extremely talented athlete, was fighting dogs and went to prison for almost 3 years. And there are gang members and gang bangers and people on the streets that fight other humans and kill them and get less time than he did. So you see that in a society like this, even dogs have, in many instances, they have more respect and honor and rights, if you please, than humans. I'm not putting nobody down because, hey, to each his own. That's not my point here tonight. But when you will climb up in a tree and tie yourself to that tree, knowing that the bulldozers is coming, and everybody talking about, come down. And you're like, no, we gotta save this tree. I ain't mad at that if that's what you want to do. But the reality is that a life of a tree is not the same as the life of a human. And yet that same person, you probably wouldn't see them with the same type of fervor and zeal to save the life of a human or a Hebrew at that. So my point is, the Bible, the scriptures have addressed this issue long time ago, that there's different kinds of life, but over time, somewhere psychologically, we got messed up into thinking that all life deserves the same level of honor, respect, and protection. And just me saying that, I don't want nobody writing me talking about, you don't care about dogs? That's not my point. I don't want them in my house. I think they stink. But there's humans who stink, but a human can be in the house. Get it? Because a human is a little... Somebody said, well, I don't know about that. I want to just say something. While you might not think you've been affected by that way of thinking, by me giving those illustrations, you can see that we have been affected by that way of thinking. And while we do respect life, we understand that there's a difference when it comes to life. And I'm going to give it to you tonight. When you read in Genesis chapter 20, you're gonna see chapter 1, I'm sorry, verse 20. You're gonna see a very interesting word that's gonna stand side by side of another very interesting word. And that is where it says, and Yah said, let the earth bring forth abundantly that have life. The word there, those of you who are looking this up online, it is I'm gonna give you the Strong's number because I want you to see it. 2416. And the word is Hayah. The word is Hayah. Exactly. I knew somebody was going to say that. Hayah. The Oriental who have made that sound and that phrase popular borrowed that from our Hebrew manuscript. It literally means life. And on day 5, we see Yah making a different kind of life. He has already given us the life of vegetation. So we saw the life of trees, and we saw the life of herbs, and we saw the life of grass. And we know that the grass covering the earth obviously gives seed after its own kind, and there's hundreds of thousands of different grasses on the planet. We know that there was the herb that gives seed after its kind, and we know that there's thousands and thousands of herbs. And there's fruit trees that give seed after its kind, and we know that there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of different fruit trees on the planet. And one of the things we already established is that every planted thing gave seed after its own self. In other words, the Bible does not spend 1/2 a second trying to argue with an evolutionist. That is the stupidest thing anybody could ever come up with. Somebody said, oh man, don't call people who believe in evolution stupid. I didn't call you stupid. I said evolution is stupid. See, 1 plus nothing can be something. But nothing plus nothing, that was one of the first lessons we learned in school. That was my favorite math question. 0 plus 0. Man, that was 0. 0 plus 0. 0 minus 0. 0 times 0. 0 divided by 0. 0 to the 10th power. 0 was because that was the easiest one. Now, how is it that a person can begin evolution with 0 and then all of a sudden get everything? No, it's not what happened. And they have so many theories. And this is not a message on evolution. This is just to show you that one of their theories is nothing exploded.
Come on, Dave.
That nothing went boom. No. It's inaccurate. Nothing went bang. Because they call it the Big Bang. So nothing went bang. So what went bang? Nothing. Yeah, but we see something. Yeah, because when it went bang, then it created something. Oh, so the bang is the creator. Because whatever started this thing is the creator of it. So if evolution says bang started, then bang is God. So every time you hear bang, you need to bow down. Every time you hear I'm just saying because bang is God. That's your creator. Next time you hear somebody, next time you hear something go off, say bang, say daddy. Is that you? You get the point? Now watch this. They also said it was matter. No life, just bang and then matter. But then they said from the matter, we got all of our, what's the table we just talked about the other day?
Hydrogen. At first it was just hydrogen.
Who put the hydrogen there? Don't hydrogen got molecules?
Hydrogen.
I mean, is a molecule, don't it got atoms?
But hydrogen is one. So it actually proves the biblical.
Oh, so they trying to say that we all just a result of hydrogen explode. Who lit the fuse? Who struck the match?
Aliens.
Who made the match? Where'd the fire come from? Now, wait a minute. Hold on. I want to get to this lesson. Watch this. They said it became matter. The universe, everything blew up, and then everything started bouncing off each other, and the centrifugal forces sent everything into spin. And as things spun, they then expanded. And as they cooled down, we got all these rock planets that are freaking huge, right? And over time, what they say is a puddle of water showed up here. Now that's hard to believe, but that's what they believe. They believe that over time, some oxygen was created, and two oxygen molecules was like, hey, hydrogen, what you doing? Or two hydrogen molecules, some kind of way it was H2O. And they got together and just made a pond. And then some kind of way the sun
Made out.
just was like, hey, I'm just gonna warm this pond up. And when it warmed the pond up, then scum naturally appeared somewhere. And that scum, with all, now we know now that it is, that even scum is complex amino acids. We know even what you consider to be germs and scum and moss or whatever, we even know now that we don't have a computer that can reproduce even the smallest and what we consider the most insignificant piece of pond scum. But they say then something happened, electrical, where did they get the electricity? We don't know. It hit the pond, and the scum and the water and everything was just right, and poof, you had this cell. And this one cell split and turned into an amoeba. One. Now, how does amoeba survive? We have no clue. How to know to eat, how to know to live, how to know to multiply. I'm going on with too many questions, right? But it kept multiplying and making itself into something, and all of a sudden, it made itself into a living organism with the ability to not only eat, but to reproduce itself, to survive its climate. Now, my question is, what was it surviving on? So what we discovered, and I'm going to get to my lesson. This is my lesson, but I want you to see something. What we discover is evolution then is trying to explain the difference between plant life, the life of scum in the bottom of this pond, that eventually turns into grass and flowers and trees and all that. But they couldn't do the other kind of life. So they had to then introduce something into their scenario, which was, I guess, lightning. So lightning to them is life. It's what generates life. So therefore you have a lot of people who worship the god of lightning, or, you know what I'm saying? They believe that. And it's out there. The Bible is not going to argue any of those points. If you notice, you don't get a encyclopedia worth of information when you open the Bible. You get 6 days that he's going to tell you what he did, and that's it. And he's going to tell you everything he made before you got here. So therefore, you're going to have to trust somebody. Now, I'm going to trust Yah over Darwin and whoever else at any time. It's not my lesson tonight, but I just want to show you something. I don't believe in what's called theological, what do they call it? They call it where religion and evolution marry one another. I don't believe in that either. Somebody asked me about microevolution or macroevolution. I don't believe in evolution at all. I believe in adaptation. I believe Yah put into all of his created creatures and things and plants the ability to adapt. So some trees may grow taller based on where they are. Some will grow shorter based on where they are. Some plants will get bigger leaves based on where they are. Some plants will develop smaller leaves, but nevertheless, it's not evolution, it's adaptation. I think you say you're going a long ways for that. Yeah, I am, because I'll show you something. On this day, day 5, Yah creates a different kind of life. This particular life, which is Haya, which is root is He, Het, Yod. And believe it or not, it is connected to a belly, a stomach. I say, huh? Yep. He creates life that has a stomach. You're saying, is that the only thing that separates us from the plants? Yeah, pretty much. No, I'm just joking. But the reason why this word and the word stomach go together is because with this particular life, you're going to see a thing called an appetite. And of course, from the appetite, you're going to start learning behavior. And of course, your behavior, one way or another, will then begin to feed this appetite. And so life in this base form will point to what we call the natural, or the, I hate to use this term, but I have to use it, it's biblical, or the beast nature. Beast, like B-E-A-S-T, like the animal, beast. Animals all share a base nature, which is also a beast nature. Animals, unlike plants, there's exceptions to every rule, but unlike plants, animals have this ability to move about and travel. Animals have the ability to seek out a mate, and then to mate with the mate and multiply and make more like them. And this life that he creates in birds first, which is my very first point tonight. It's going to go for both, by the way, the fish and the bird. The first thing we got to look at is environment. Spell it. Environment, yeah. All right. So, point number 1 about this life. Now, it's the same in both. And I'll show you in a moment. But what you got to know about this kind of life is that it must remain in the environment that it was created to survive. Once again, base level understanding. This particular kind of life must stay within the environment that it was created in order to survive. Its atmosphere has been predetermined by its creator. So let me make it simple. There's no reason to get too deep on this. Birds need to stay in the air. They won't do too good underwater. And fish got to stay in the water because they don't do too good in the air. Did I help anybody see something? I said birds got to stay in the air because they were made to fly above the earth. Now, they can't go up so high that they enter into the firmament because that's beyond the borders that Yah set for them. They have to stay in the air. They just can't take off and land on the moon. Am I right or wrong? They have been given limitations. And fish can only survive, I should say, they only survive well in the atmosphere that they were created, or the environment, which is the water. Well, you know, Solomon, if he get busy, he gonna take the focus. What's up, Solomon? That child right there is special. I love him to death. That's the nicest little boy on the planet. Okay, now watch this. Watch this. Watch this. There are some birds that actually can go underwater, but they can't stay. And there's some fish that can actually come out of the water and be in the air, but they can't stay. Take a flying fish, right? I've seen them. You know, I've been out on the water where they've jumped on the boat. If you want to see a flying fish real unhappy, let him stay on the boat. All of a sudden, he'll be looking at you like, I was just joking. You know, can you please put me back in the water? Yah made this type of life to exist where he made it from. It was honestly the air that produced, or Yah used the air, or the sky, when he used it, the air, the wind, to produce the birds, and he used the water to produce the fish. Now, let me show you something. If you look at fish and you look at birds, they are almost identical on how they survive in their given atmosphere. If you've ever looked at fish swim in schools, it's a beautiful thing. But you can also look at birds as they fly together. They almost do the same thing, just up here. This is gonna get kind of, but you know, like big fish eat little fish. Big birds eat little birds. I know that might hurt somebody's feelings, but it's true. You know, like in the water, you have some animals that are small, and there's like billions of them. And then you have some that are bigger, and then there's less of them. The same way you see in the bird kingdom. In other words, you don't have the same amount of anchovies as you do whales. No, way more. I want you to see, in the skies, the reason that we honor certain birds or we set them apart or whatever is because they're rare. Nobody goes on an expedition to see a Chi-Chi bird. You can look out the window and see Chi-Chi birds every day. That's what we call them in the country, just the little brown birds. But when you want to go see the exotic birds, you fly to go see them. Just like when people want to go see exotic fish, they go to certain places where they are. I want you to understand something, that where Yah made them and how he made them, they relate to each other, even though one cannot live where the other one is living, and this one, and the fish can't live where the birds are living. Put the fish under the water, yeah, he's happy. Put the fish in a nest, he gonna have some problems up in the tree. Oh, by the way, this wasn't in my notes. There's actually some fish, because I fished for one of them, that builds nests underwater. They literally build nests and have their young in their nests underwater. So we have a life here, but that life in its glory is still only what we consider to be base nature. Please write that down. Base nature. When you see an eagle in his glory and his splendor, with that wingspan that probably can almost touch from hula to the wall, it's huge. When you see that, and you see that the majesty of his flight, and you see the strength of his talons, and you see the power, you're still seeing an animal that's operating with a base nature. When you look in the waters and you see, the great whales, you see the dolphins and the killer whales and all the other sea life that that's so magnificent that it has you in awe. You're still looking at best, you're still looking at base nature. They have to stay connected to their environment. The next thing that we see is not only do they have environment, I'm going to just use this simple term. I'm just going to use actions. They were given by Yah very unique capabilities that, believe it or not, even you and I don't have. Now, we can fall, but we can't fly. Now, you might, you might be smoking on something you shouldn't be smoking and think you can fly. But birds have an ability that you and I don't have. They can just think about getting from point A to point B, and boom, they can fly there. Nobody gave them flying lessons. They just learned how to fly and then passed it on. Yah gave them the wings, who's the master of aerodynamics. He knows exactly, what's the word, dihedral. He knows exactly how much dihedral to put in each wing. He knows how big to make the wings, how small to make the wings, how strong the muscles have to be, how much fuel and energy has to go into this bird in order for him to do that. The brain has to be able to navigate all the wind and the circumstances of flight. They got to be able to adjust to the different heights. They have to be able to deal with the G forces of turning and all that kind of stuff. All that was worked in at creation. Watch this, to the millions of different species too, because they're not all the same, but yet the function, their actions are uniquely given to them by Yah. When we see a bird not acting like a bird, the first thing comes to our mind is, what's wrong with that bird? Oh man, I'm having way too much fun. Watch this. Do you know that even Yah calls the ostrich a silly bird? And a matter of fact, he says to us in the book of Leviticus that we cannot even consume a bird that can't fly. That doesn't mean that the birds don't have function. That's not my point. I'm saying the creation, good to see you.
Shalom, everyone.
The actions that they were given, the abilities that they were given were uniquely for them. And so therefore, birds fly. Second, fish swim. Somebody said, man, this is the most basic lesson you ever taught. Oh, I'm going somewhere with it. Fish swim. But they are uniquely designed to swim in their environment. As beautiful as a bird is, a bird can't outswim a fish. I don't care what the bird is. Once he gets underwater, he gets sloppy in his motion, even if he's fishing, like the storks and things. But a fish, he's made for it. They have bladders on the inside that allows them to adjust to the different heights and depths of water. They have the way they secrete a particular amount of mucus on the outside so they can slip through the water fast. Some of them have big fins, some have small fins, some of them are streamlined, some are fat. There's all kinds of, but watch this. They are uniquely gifted though to get around in that water. And if you think I'm joking, you jump in the water and try to catch one. Now you got tricks to do it. I'm talking about swimming getting. You get my point?
Yeah, I get your point. Absolutely.
So I'm trying to show you something. Their actions have to stay consistent with how Yah made them.
Hallelujah.
Last thing, they all received a command. And the command was,
Be fruitful.
be fruitful.
Be what?
Is it two M's? And what? Multiply. Can I share this one more time with y'all? Had to stay in the right environment. Have actions uniquely theirs. But given a command. They were given a command that the plants weren't given. The plants had their seed within themselves. There was no command to the plants, be fruitful and multiply. No, he made the plants with the ability to just produce. You don't necessarily have to have a male and female plant all the time. Some plants do require that. But for the most part, when it comes to trees and plants, the seed is within themselves. They just produce it. But with the animal life, birds, and we'll get to this other one in the 6th day, But birds and fish, they've got to find someone. Now watch this, man. Like them. The guppy can't be winking at the whale. Talking about what kind of baby could we have? None. I wish y'all was with me. The eagle can't be dating the chicken. Do y'all get the point? So they've been commanded to multiply, which gives them then the parameters of multiply with who, and that is only their own kind. Period. That's why I tell you evolution don't work. Unless you've taken these animals, putting them in a lab, and doing some weird splicing like these mad scientists today are doing, and creating all these weird hybrids of animals and things like that. You know the earth got destroyed once for this kind of foolishness. And we're doing it again. All right. Uh-oh. What happened to my... I did something to my screen. I need to get it back. It went dark on me. I can still kind of see it, but it's just dark. All right, now watch this. Watch this. The life of the animal is a different kind of life, but I want to share something with you. Believe it or not, all of Yah's created beings, thank you, I'm talking about the animals, birds, fish, animals, watch this, and man. We all have what's called, write this down, Zion, all of us have a base nature. And because we all have this hayah, does not mean that we're all the same. But there is some truth in the fact that we all share life, because we do. We all breathe oxygen. We do. But I want to dispel something today. I want to dispel this myth that if you have a particular gift, skill, or ability, it means you must be spiritual. Because the truth of the matter is, some of us just have skills and abilities, watch this, that's a part of our base nature. Most of us operate on our base nature. Most of us believe that if we can just improve our base nature, it's going to make us holy enough
Come on now.
to see Yah. But there's another word that we're going to have to develop, and I'm not going to do it tonight because it's next week's lesson. The other word we're going to see is the word nefesh, where we get the idea of soul. And there's another word that we're going to develop, and that's the word ruach. And that's the word that's going to have to do with the spirit of Yah. So, can you see now that there is a base nature given a base life, but whatever receives this life is commanded by Yah, number one, to stay in the environment where he created you. That's number one. Number two, the actions and abilities that he gives is still a part of that base nature. And number three, which I forgot my own third point. What I just say? Kids was playing, huh? They've been given a command. All of Yah's created beings, things, creatures, given a command to multiply. So you already can see where I'm going with this. Do you see how the lesser creatures on this planet seem to do so much better when it comes to obeying Yah than we do? The base nature things. The bird know he's supposed to stay in the air. But those of us who are created in his image and in his likeness, do we know that we're supposed to stay in Torah? The birds have been given a particular action to perform. They've been given gifts and abilities, and they have to work in those gifts. But those of us who've been given gifts by Yah, are we operating even on a base nature level? And when it comes to commands, have you ever seen the bird kingdom say, we just ain't doing that no more?
No.
Say what? We that flying thing is, we all took a vote, and we voted that Yah was wrong when he gave us these weird wings. We wanted, we wanted hands. We didn't want wings. You know what I'm saying? So we're not flying them. Yeah, don't call me no bird. Call me an aeronautical. Let's get some script and get out of here. You guys have been so kind. My time is up. If you got a program, I have a program called, I have it open right in front of me. It's online, called Bible Hub, and you don't have to have Bible Hub to do this. But if you do, come and go with me with that 2416 Hayah, the word there for life. And the only reason why I'm showing you that is because I want you to, of all times, for my computer to get stuck. Hold on. I can do it here. I want to show you how this word life is interpreted in Scripture. And I was going to write these verses down, but I was like, you know what? I'll just do it on my computer tonight. And now my computer is stalling. Ain't that something? Okay, yeah, I appreciate you. I wanted to show you the different verses, and I should have wrote them down. But I'll give them to you while he is, I'm going to give you the different words while he is getting the thing to get unlocked. One of the words for life, this word hayah, one of the ways it is interpreted in your King James Version, believe it or not, is time. Time. Oh man, thank you. That's where I was going. Perfect. Hallelujah. Of course, the first one is living. Another way it was created, this word is used in the Bible, is the word age. A-G-E, age. Like an aged thing. Another way it is used, Genesis chapter 9, verse 5, is the word beast. B-E-A-S-T, beast. Another way this word is interpreted in your King James Bible is the word either next year or in King James, the time of life. So, for instance, in Genesis chapter 18, verse 10, when the Most High is talking to Sarah, and he's like, you're going to have a baby. And she was like, that is funny. Because I'm old and my husband is old, and you know the whole story. She laughed, and he was like, hey, by the next year this time, which literally is at the time of life. So what is he talking about? The time that the base nature of man is created. Life, that time when all creatures have to go through a particular time. You're going to get pregnant. You're going to go, in the human point, you're going to go through 9 months. And then on that 10th month, or at the end of the 9 months, you're going to have a baby. That's what she was laughing at. That this is going to be a natural process is the term, the idea. It's not going to be supernatural. We're just going to have a baby tomorrow. No, you're going to go through the whole process. That's why she asked the question, is she going to have pleasure? Ooh, y'all said, She was serious. She was like, I know how things work and I'm old. Y'all was like, y'all about to have some fun. I don't know what you're talking about. And then the last way I want you to see it is the idea of that liveth. And that's in Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 9. So you see this word is translated into different English words, but it all comes back to this idea of life in its most basic form. And while it is used of beasts, and while it is used of time concerning man and beast, and while it is used of that which is living, it does not also equal the fact that animals and humans are the same. We just share the same, this idea of a base nature called life. We breathe, we eat, we multiply, we move around, we share some things, we have appetites. We are moved by our belly, if you want to use that term. And almost everything we do in this life is to satisfy our base nature. And this is the conclusion of the message. Is at Zion, we've got to come to grips with something. While we do have a base nature, we are not supposed to be living according to that base nature, because that's a different kind of life. So looking into animal world and animal kingdom to always try to solve your problems. You know, a married couple get together and they start arguing, right? Because say that the woman is cheating on her husband, right? And the man go, well, you know, ducks, you know, they don't do that. Ducks. We talking about this, you talking about a duck. You know, I heard somebody say, well, you know, I'm a lion, you know. I'm gonna take care of my woman. If you look in the lion kingdom, lions got a whole lot of women. And if they don't kill their brother, they don't get no women. Why y'all looking at me funny? That's the law of the lion kingdom. Y'all know that, right? Yes. We don't take, watch this. We can take some advice and look at some of the good qualities that Yah has put into life. But let me tell you what, you can't pattern your life after no beast. The beast is a different kind of life. So let's see if the Messiah is trying to warn us about that, because we all have life, but let's see if the Messiah has a word about that. Quickly, Matthew chapter 6. Y'all been kind to stay with me this long. Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. No, let's start earlier than that. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19. Lay not up for yourself treasures upon the earth where moth and rust does corrupt and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust does corrupt and where thieves do not break through nor steal. He says, for where your treasure is, there your heart, there will your heart be also. The light of the body is the eye. If the eye therefore be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thy eye be evil, the whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he'll hold to the one and despise the other. You can't serve Yah and money. What was he trying to say? Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life. How do you tell a being that was created with the base nature to take care of his life, not to have thought for his life? You see how that's strange? He's trying to move us to another kind of life. It's called transcendent. You need to be operating a little higher. Now let's see what he's going to compare it to. He says, here it comes. Take no thought for your life, what we shall eat or what we shall drink, nor yet for your body, what shall you put on it. Is not the life more than meat, and the body more than raiment? Look what he says. Behold the... Wait, he said, look at the birds. For they don't sow, but they ain't got no job planting no seeds.
Come on now.
Neither do they reap. Like go out every week, oh, come on, let's get this stuff and put it in the barn. Yet your heavenly Father does what?
Yes, sir.
Now here's the kicking line. Are you not much better than they?
Hallelujah.
Yeah, we all have life, but when it comes to you, you're way better than birds. Watch this. Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit to his stature? That's a bad interpretation of that text, by the way. It really has to do with can add length to his days. Verse 28. And take no thought for your raiment, consider the what? He man, look at the grass out there. He said, look how they grow. They don't toil, neither they spin. And yet I say that not even Solomon, all his glory, was arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if Yah clothe the grass, which today is, tomorrow is cast to the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? He like, man, you all are living too low. And I know you're saying, but look how I'm flying. It's still too low. Well, look how I can swim. It's still too low. Because you're still living to just satisfy the base nature that Yah has given every animal. You don't have no bragging points because you can stay in the environment, have a few actions, and keep a couple of commandments. You will sin until you realize that you and I don't share the same base nature. Oh, no. When you and I weren't created to just live on our base nature. That's how the devil always is able to pull us into sin. By simply making you put your base nature first. In this passage, he says, seek first the kingdom and its righteousness, and then all things will be added. All right, got another one for you. Turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 39. And I look like I'm about done. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 39. Do you see it? It's as simple as I can say it. I can't say it no simpler than this. Ready? Verse 39? Read it.
All flesh
It's what?
is not the same flesh.
It ain't the same. Now he's getting ready to make an argument about resurrection. Ooh. Goodness gracious. I'm getting excited. He's getting ready to make an argument about resurrection, and his whole argument is y'all don't even understand what awaits you as a follower of the Hamashiach.
Hallelujah. Come on now.
Man, some things die, man, they just die. That's how they go down. All flesh is not the same. What he's saying is, when he gets to the end, he's going to say, you were made for resurrection. You weren't just made to exist on this side like a fish or a bird, but you were honestly made to be resurrected with the Hamashiach. And people are like, I don't get it. He's like, okay, you know when you put a seed in the ground, you ain't expecting just the same seed to pop up. It comes up looking different, right? Yeah. You know, you put, and he talks about celestial bodies, and read the passage. What he's trying to show you is you and I are different than just the birds and the fish.
Hallelujah.
First John chapter 2. 1 John. And by the way, there's so many verses. I was just trying to pick out a couple that I thought would help us.
First John 2, what?
I'm trying to see where I should start. Verse 15, let's just go there. We'll start there. Read the whole chapter 2. It's powerful, but for time's sake, watch what he says. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is within in the world, what?
The lust of flesh.
Come on.
The lust of the eyes.
And
Pride of life.
is not of the Father, but of the world. In other words, everybody does that. One of the things I used to tell you all the time when people used to tell me, I have good taste. I just have good taste. Everybody got good taste. You think you special? Well, the reason why I do this is because I like nice things. So you think you special because you like nice things? You know anybody who like nasty, ugly things? Well, you know what? I just don't like it when people talk about me. Guess what? Nobody likes being talked about. All that stuff, man, is base level living. Believe it or not, do you know that animals have emotions?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all didn't know that, huh? It's not your emotions that set you apart from the animal kingdom. I had a dog named Zephyr. I saw everything. The base nature. Zephyr was some kind of dog, man. I've talked about him a lot. Zephyr was some kind of dog. That was not a normal dog. Well, to me, he was extraordinary. Never ever had to be on a chain. Zephyr was the kind of dog, well, I don't want to get into that. I knew when he was happy. I knew when he was sad. I knew when he missed us. I knew when he didn't want to see us. I knew when he wanted to be handled. I knew when he didn't want to be handled. He knew when he did things that was wrong. I know y'all don't believe that. Zephyr get in the chicken coop, we'd be like, hey, where you been? All of a sudden, Zephyr don't want to come around. We're like, he done been in them chickens. How did he know as a dog that he did something wrong? Because he'd been disciplined about it before. See, some of us are given credit to like a higher level that's not a high level. The high level that Yah wants us to operate in is the level called Torah.
Hallelujah.
Watch this. Watch this. For all that is in the it's not of the Father but the world. And the world passes away and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yah abides forever. Little children, it is the last time, and as you heard that the Antichrist shall come, even now there are many Antichrists, whereby we shall know that this is the last time. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. But you have an unction from the Holy One. It's that unction that sets you apart. And you know all things. I have not written unto you because you don't know the truth, but because you know it, and that no lie is of the truth. Now, if you keep reading, he's going to get in. Let's just read this. Go 25. And this is the promise that he has promised us. That's my end. What does it say? Verse 25.
Even eternal life.
We live a different kind of life. Our life is connected to eternity. Our life is connected to the author and finisher of life. Our life is connected to Yah. And therefore, what the scriptures try to continually teach us is that we ought to be living a life higher than the base life of a beast. What's going to make the beast of Revelation so popular is that the beast will connect with the beast nature of man. Some of those words I gave you, the word beast for life, was not talking about animals. It was talking about people that were behaving like animals. And most of what you see on TV, that's beast behavior. And that's what pulls us. It's low life stuff. That's what pulls us. That's why we watch the news the way we do. Because news is not news now. News is like gossip. It's like, ooh, let me hear what's going on. Trump said what? He did what? So-and-so said what? Really? We're not just reporting the news of what's really going on. Nowadays, everything is geared to hook us at our base nature. That's why fish and birds become such easy prey for us, because we play on their base nature. You can make a trap and catch a bird today with a stick, a string, and a box. I'm talking about you can do it today. Have a string on a stick, lift the box up, put the string on there, put some food under there, and just wait. That base nature. Let me tell you something. I live in the country, right? It could be food all over the grass, but he wants the one under the box. And his base nature, and then you just pull the stick, the box drops, caught a bird. That easy. Fish, base nature. And all of that, their glorious actions and abilities, they still a sucker for a worm. It don't even have to be real. It could be plastic. I caught a bass one time with a stick and a hook. Honestly, I did it. I tied a hook to a stick and tied the other end of the stick to a line and threw the stick out, and it floats a little bit, right? And I just kept pushing the stick like that. And then a bass hit it. Boom. I caught a fish on a stick and a hook hanging off the back.
Can we go where you caught that bad?
All I'm saying is they are still operating on that base nature. And if you and I, Zion, don't realize that we got to rise above that base nature, we're going to stay prey for the devil. But if we rise above it and live the different kind of life we've been called to live, then we can resist the temptations. Hallelujah. 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 Amen. The fifth day.